Hey world, this is Justin, and you are tuned to Anywhere the Needle Drops, and welcome to another bonus episode. That's right, we've got a special one here for you this week on the off week, because last week we spoke to Roger Clyne of Roger Clyne and the Peacemakers, and it was not Roger's first time on the show. In fact, he'd been on the show twice in the past. So we dug into those archives, and Paul over at Theory One Productions did his audio magic and cleaned them all up, and we're gonna give those to you right here, right now. In fact, we took both of Roger's previous appearances on the show and put them together into one episode because they're both fairly short episodes. That was still back in the day when we were still, ironing things out and whatnot. And so yeah, they together make a nice little bonus episode for you here, so you can check out what was going on back in the day with Roger. So the first one is my 2014 interview with Roger Clyne, and then after that, my 2016 interview with Roger Clyne. A couple of things about these. Well, first, putting aside the fact that I always get self-conscious about how green I was listening back to these old episodes. Yeah, you know what? It's a learning thing, and so back in the day, I was still figuring out this whole interview thing, and it's a lot of stuff that probably no one else notices. In fact, I ask people and they say they don't, but I sure notice it. But what can you do? That's how it goes. But so the first interview you're going to hear is with Roger in 2014. Actually takes place in the basement of, I believe the venue was what was it? The Elbow Room, maybe? So you're going to hear that interview with Roger right there. And my good friend Dylan Roberts is with us as well. In fact, after the interview, you're going to hear a phone chat with me and Dylan, kind of reminiscing because we had a bit of an adventure getting to Chicago for this interview. And so we talk about that. So it's a fun little time capsule there. And then we fast forward 2 years to 2016, which is, holy wow, already 10 years ago. Just nuts. And Roger was on to talk about the, at that time, the tequila brand he was involved in, Mexican Moonshine, which has since changed names and is available under different names, so check the links in the show notes if you're interested in that. But so Roger and I talked. That was a remote interview, complete with my dog Alice interrupting the interview with some barking, and then we have a great discussion about working from home and dogs and whatnot. So fun times back in the day in 2014 and 2016 with Roger Clyne. Of course, the Peacemakers are they're doing lots of fun stuff this year in 2026. There is a new album coming out. It's available for pre-order. That's called Hell to Breakfast, and that's available for pre-order on the Peacemakers website, which, again, link in the show notes. And also in the show notes, the link to the tour dates, because they've announced a bunch of dates around the country, including a couple right near here where I am. So guess who's going to go see the Peacemakers a couple of times? That's this guy. So lots of fun stuff to check out. Be sure to hop on there, pre-order that new album, get some tickets for some tour dates, because the Peacemakers are always fun live, and enjoy this look back in the time machine to the 2014 and 2016 previous appearances of Roger Clyne on Anywhere the Needle Drops. Take care of each other. Here's to life. Hey Roger, I'm Justin. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
I'm Dylan. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
You guys
for
might have a little issue with traffic.
We had a little bit. Took what should have been a 2-hour drive.
You can sit here if you want. That sure sucks.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. We were just checking it out, and
Pretty bad.
yeah.
You guys Chicago denizens? You live here?
No, we're actually from Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah. So we rolled in from Michigan, and it's normally 2 hours is the bad side of it. It was a good 4-hour trip this time. And we gave ourselves 3.5 hours, so we thought, well, we got plenty of cushion to get here.
Chicago gets worse too. I mean, like PH and Nick are both Chicago boys, and every year they're like, oh, it'll take us, whatever they'll say, it'll be, so we hit the city, it'll be 45 minutes. It's always another 50%, like every time we come. 45 takes an hour, and the next thing you go, it's an hour, it takes an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Today we were late too. We were late by 45 minutes.
So you guys hit it too?
Yeah.
Now where were you coming in from?
I don't know.
You already know?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, can you grab the door?
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time, especially adjusting with the traffic issue.
No sweat, man. No sweat.
Yeah, we were
Probably have to keep it semi-brief because I've got a little bit of rehearsal to do before sound check if it's possible.
totally.
Working out
Do you
some
have
new stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just let me know when you got
15, 20 minutes?
Okay.
Can we frame it in that?
Yeah, we can do that.
Cool.
Totally, yeah. So, have you ever done a podcast before?
I don't know.
No?
No,
Okay.
no.
Are you familiar with podcasts and?
Yeah, I know what they are. You know,
Okay.
I have a few of them on my iPad pod thing. You know, I listen to some stuff.
Sure. Yeah, it's funny because
basically interviews that go out and you can just go through and find them, subscribe to them too.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, that's what we do here. It's a little podcast. So, which ones do you listen to?
Oh, I don't know. I usually get them sent to me. They're typically on either like social justice or nutrition.
Okay.
So, you know.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Well, you have very unique success going on. I talked to a lot of musicians.
So we're on. This is go.
Yeah, we're going.
Cool, let's do it.
That's the thing about podcasts. It's very casual. So
Very
it's
cool.
just we're recording. Yeah. So we're going. So So the thing about podcasting I like is it's a very more of an intimate type of thing.
Cool.
And that's kind of what I guess you started 20 years ago.
Yeah. The refreshments came out about 20 years ago.
Okay.
95. So coming up 19 years now.
Okay, all right. And that was, the world's changed a lot since then. You know, we've got
Incredible.
the internet and so many different things going on with that, like the podcasting and whatnot. So what have you seen in those changes over the years from your perspective as a musician promoting yourself?
Wow. Well, information is democratized now. I mean, anybody can reach anybody, anywhere, anytime, and that can be a very good thing, or it can lead to a lot of superfluous sort of abuse of information or misinformation. To get a little more specific about how it can help a musician, if we can cut through the noise with good rock and roll and a good message, then people can find us and hear it and spread it to their friends, family, social network, whatever, without having to go to a sponsor or be beholden to anybody else who would otherwise be the gatekeeper. So that's happened, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if you don't mind me.
Go ahead.
No.
I actually didn't even really know about you guys until like earlier this year. He hit me up with a CD and like it's been awesome.
Groovy, thanks. What was what CD?
Honky Tonk.
Was that?
That's Honky Tonk that I gave you.
Honky Tonk, yeah.
Cool, our first indie.
Yeah,
Cool.
I love it. Like Jack vs. Jose is probably one of my favorite songs of all time.
Thank you.
So yeah, it's been awesome.
It's I'm glad that. Well, cool. Thank you. That song is both been like a blessing and also sort of a chore because it's the most difficult song I ever wrote to sing and play at the same time. Like the fingering and the fretting is a lot different. The rhythm is different than my cadence vocally. So if I have 2 or 3 shots, it gets a little dodgy. Even one shot.
But that
gets a
just
little
adds
dodgy.
to it, you know.
Yeah, hopefully. There are some pretty dizzy recordings of that song out there.
I imagine, yeah. Yeah, well, you've had a really unique success in that you're a career musician, but you've largely done it on your own terms.
Yeah, true.
So, I mean, tell me about your journey getting into that and how you've gotten to this place.
We just took a leap. We didn't know where we'd land. I'm not sure we have yet. Back when we parted ways with Mercury, which was our choice. They kind of forced our hand. If we want to get into that later, I can. The band, The Refreshments, was breaking up, and we had been parented largely by the record company. We had been really coddled. A lot of stuff that they did, I sort of had to relearn how to do on our own. Everything from record and budget to make a record to publicity and that's the stage, right?
Yeah, I think that's
To work publicity and marketing. Touring, tour press, all that stuff. We had to relearn how to do all that, and I never thought I would. Never thought I'd have to learn how to read a spreadsheet or do anything like that as a musician. So, begrudgingly, a lot of those arenas that Mercury or the record company had taken care of, I had to sort of step into and learn. The Refreshments were breaking up at the time, so PH and I were the ones who emerged from that band. We decided to change the name to the Peacemakers because we really believed that the personality of that band was synonymous with the lineup. So moving forward into the Peacemakers, we just decided we were going to be musicians and move forward. And there was a little thing at the time emerging called the internet, and I didn't have any belief that it would ever become what it has now. We had some people offer to do fan club pages and stuff like that, which I had turned down several times because I thought it would just be too much energy or it would be a fad. And luckily I was proven wrong because it's become the primary vehicle through which we reach our audience, both extant and yet to be discovered. So it's been an amazing ride, and you always have to keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on. And anymore there are almost too many pulses to figure out what's going on, but it's a very creative chaos that we get to work within out there.
Yeah, it really is. And there are so many tools out there to use as an artist promoting yourself now. It's almost overwhelming even knowing which tool to use, let alone how to use it successfully.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know if we're talking specifically, like things like web pages were replaced by MySpace, which was usurped by Facebook, and then here came Twitter and Snapchat, and there's a whole bunch of 2 or 3 syllable words that are happening out there that I don't even know what they are, i.e. podcast. It all happens really quickly, and one thing eclipses another so fast that it's difficult to know where to put your energy, except that you have to keep your eyes and ears open.
Yeah, I've spoken to a lot of musicians who are at an earlier level in their career than you are, and they're really trying to figure that out in the modern world, where you came up in sort of the pre-world and then evolved with this. Mm-hmm. They're starting to figure out how to go, dive right into it. From your perspective, what tools have you found have been useful, coming from the pre-internet to this modern social media chaos?
Are you talking about specifically marketing promotion, or do you want to talk about music?
Well, either way. I mean, how do you find fans, or how do you, connect?
My first job is to write music, and so that's what I focus on first, and I try not to get too distracted by how many friends we have on Facebook or anything. As a matter of fact, I have been purposefully disconnected from basically all my social media monitoring stations. I'm not allowed to get on Facebook and Twitter and see what I do garners more looks or likes or followers or stuff, because that's distracting, and it takes away from where I really should be observing and what I should be reporting, which is, I guess, how I see life and how to write music around that or through that. So I focus first on creating good melodies, interesting stories, something that I hope will resonate with an audience, to ultimately sort of amplify happiness. That's what I hope that my music can do. After I feel satisfied that I've done that, and I actually never totally feel satisfied that I've done that, then maybe I'll take a peek into what's going on and how to self-promote. But basically, we still rely on the old tool, which is make music, be able to play it well as a band, and then hit the road. And I think everybody else in the world is so engaged in social media that they're almost going to do it for you. They're almost going to, if you find a great band, they're going to talk about it, or I'm going to talk about it. That's just the way it works. Hopefully that band will have some longevity. I find that a lot of bands that I've seen come and go quick now. They come and go very, very quickly. But I don't know if I really even answered the question or if I just talked over it.
No, you did. I mean, it is interesting because you see a lot of people that focus really on the promotional aspects, the social media aspects, and they almost forget the art behind it that they need to work on. And, you can reach 1,000 people, but if what you're reaching them with is no good, then
if it's hype or fad, it won't last. I mean, I think quality is quality. I don't really know how to define it. We just put our art and our heart into our art, and we lead quantity with quality. So that's the way we've always worked it. And if we can't play it live, then we probably shouldn't record it. Yeah. That's the way we see it.
Now you mentioned that writing the happiness, your view of life into your songs, going all the way back to the Refreshments, your music has always had a thread of positivity through it.
Yeah.
So is that something you intentionally set out to communicate to people, or is that something reflecting out of you, more naturally?
I think it's probably natural. I don't actually intend it. It just sort of is my expression. In our music, I think is an implicit compassion and a tolerance. It comes out in funny ways, and there's a sense of humor. It sort of comes out in funny ways, and it embraces the idea of inclusion and community. I don't purposely purposefully set out to do that. It just happens. And I'm lucky that the musicians I work with all embrace it. And we all get sort of high marks on those ideas.
Yeah. Well, and the fans embrace it too.
Yeah. Have you been to a show yet?
Oh, this is... Yeah, I mean...
This is my first.
Yeah, now that I've got you in a room, I mean, I am a little bit of a fanboy. So,
cool, I'm on it, thanks.
I'll
cool.
go ahead and reveal this now.
Oh, good. So I'm wearing the same, I've got the same brand on right there. Cool. Yeah, I've played with a lot of artists who are considerably larger than we are. Anyone from Sammy Hagar, John Fogerty, Kid Rock, and almost to a man, they all say, who are your people? Your crowd is awesome. And I totally agree. I can hang out at a cantina in Mexico with any of these people, or actually anywhere, anytime, and feel at home. It's not like I have to put on airs or be a persona that's not natural. And I think that everybody appreciates being able to do that. That's just sort of what sets the tone for the whole crowd. If we step on each other's feet, we buy each other a drink, high five, and off we go.
Right.
We celebrate this unity and inclusion through music, and hopefully that resonates outward into the world and creates some, if minute, positive effect.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why your success has continued, even as many things have changed. Again, going back to the internet, a lot of that's about really getting more of an intimate connection with the artists. People want to know who artists are. That's why podcasts are so successful now, because you get this conversational aspect. That's why the social media is so successful, because you get this close connection to the person. And you've had this natural way of being you and connecting to the fans going for, long before any of that started.
Hopefully, yeah. I've never tried. There was a point in my career where I was sort of being advised to develop a persona, and it just didn't sit right with me. And that was back in the record company days. It's time to think about, who Roger Clyne is. And I was like, what? I'm just figuring that out myself, man. I don't want to go ahead of that and try to pick out a wardrobe and put on and take off a personality. That's just too much work. I want to go to the grocery store on Sundays and buy my wine and my steak and say hello to the people in my neighborhood. And if that's in Chicago, great. And if it's in Solana Beach, great. And if it's in Mexico, great. But everywhere, I just want to be me, and especially through my music.
Yeah.
So how was that leap for you at that period when you no longer had the backing of the record company and you were setting out on your own? Career-wise, you got to pay the bills,
I think I'm pretty lucky. I never worried about paying the bills, which is probably foolish, I just didn't worry about it. I had the opportunity. I was a sound check. Yeah. I was a 7-year college student, and I completed some of my graduate courses in undergrad, and then I got accepted with a stipend and a position at California State University in Long Beach after I went to Arizona State, but I deferred because I was loving music. And CSULB said, okay, you can defer a year. I actually lied in my letter to apply for a deferral, said I was going to go overseas and do research. It would have been a way more secure path, and had I thought about it, or thought too much or too wisely about it, I probably would have taken the easier path, go for a PhD in environmental psychology. But then I wouldn't be here, and this is way more adventurous, like the colors in here are inarguably sort of, if you look around at where we are, we've got a band above us, we've got shit falling from the ceiling, we've got graffiti and 1,000 different
on the wall.
Band stickers, and it's it's awesome. It's definitely not a library. It's definitely not. It's not a research lab, but this is cool. I find joy here. So regarding making a living, I guess I just never really thought about it. To follow sort of one of my spiritual advisors' words is follow your bliss, Joseph Campbell. And I've been a fan of Joe's for a long, long time, and I think he's a wise man. Well, he's passed on, but his advice lives now more luminously than ever.
So
and creative types find creative ways to pay bills with, when you have $13 in your wallet and you're 23, you can make a whole weekend out of it.
Sure,
so I never worried about it.
I was reading the story yesterday about the new CD and the tale behind the song California Breakdown.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that.
that old bus of ours. Everybody in this business, everybody looks bigger than they are. So it's a funny biz. Like everybody, when you put your name on a marquee, face on a poster, park a tour bus outside a venue, everybody thinks you're a bigger star or name than you actually are. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about here, but that machine out front is broken down on us pretty much everywhere, and we've never missed a gig because of it. The last time we broke down, actually it wasn't the last time we broke down since, but we broke down in California between Sacramento and San Francisco, just as we got on this stretch of freeway that crosses a big slough, a big swamp. In California freeways, people move 90, 95 miles an hour, and there was no room for a 40-foot, stranded bus. So it was really stressful. We pulled over and fit an 8-foot wide bus into a 7-foot wide lane, and everybody packed their jump bags and got off, jumped over this portion of a bridge to get to safety while we could. Anyway, we put out one call to a tow truck and then a call on Facebook for a ride out of there, and fans arrived in droves with landscape trailers and station wagons and stuff, and we got all our gear and all our personnel and all our merchandise to the next town, San Francisco, and the show happened. It was a little bit late, but everybody got there and sort of felt more unified for it.
Yeah.
The next couple days later, after the bus got fixed, sorry guys, I'll get closer.
Right.
After the bus got fixed, Dalton came. I was nervously sort of pacing the front lounge and wringing my hands, listening for the same noises that had been happening that preceded the last breakdown. And Dalton came up to the front lounge and started playing this riff that is the hook now to California Breakdown. And he basically played a verse or two that was really cool. And he just said, we should turn this nervous energy into something positive. Everybody has a breakdown. Everybody's got their big breakdown, the California size breakdown. And so we started penning that tune, and it came out to be that.
Yeah, it's great too.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We'll play it tonight.
Awesome.
I should probably get up there.
Okay, real quick before you go, I have to tell you this story because my grandmother asked me to.
Okay.
So when I was 17, 18 years old, there was nothing more I wanted in the world than a copy of Wheelie. And at that time, she was heading out to Arizona from Michigan to stay with a friend for a week. And I said, hey, while you're out there, if you just keep your eyes out, what are the chances?
Record store or
Yeah,
something.
So imagine these two little old ladies. They went to every record store in the Phoenix area and walked in there asking about the refreshments. I'm sure we got you guys some attention.
I hope so.
Because they walked
it.
in there looking for that everywhere. I never saw a copy of that CD, but they brought me back so much paraphernalia, stickers.
Oh, that's cool.
Newspaper clippings, I don't even know what. And I'm sure just the image of these two walking into these stores and asking about you guys was something for the record stores.
All right. I guess I'm in one way glad that it wasn't there, and I also wish that it had been, so you'd have got a copy. I had, once upon a time, I had stashed 9 copies of Wheelie in a shoebox underneath my bed because I knew that I'd hoped that someday it could prove valuable. Like if ever I need to pay rent, I'll sell these babies. And I was looking for it about a year ago, and I can't find it. I lost it in a move or something. So somewhere in the world is this shoebox with 8 or 9 signed Wheelies in it, but I don't know where it is.
It's amazing because even nowadays with eBay and everything, you still don't see it.
No.
You hop on eBay and
I'm cool with that. It's it's contextual. It's kind of a contact high.
Yeah.
It's definitely raw material.
Cool.
Anyway, well, thanks. I appreciate the time.
I really appreciate you working with the schedule and the
sorry that
lateness.
the traffic held us all up.
That's all right, man.
But maybe we can do it again next time.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to.
If you guys ever do it via phone, I'm more than happy to.
Actually, we tried to set something up with do a Skype thing. Dylan.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So, all right, let's get right to this. So we had our adventure to go see the Peacemakers. In particular, we had our interview with Roger Clyne beforehand. And I think I had communicated to you just how important the band was to me and how cool and unexpected it was to be able to interview Roger. So let's see, we're sitting there in the worst traffic jam I've ever seen in all of my travels to Chicago. And, what was going through your mind?
Well, initially it was like, this will break up. We'll still get there on time. I'm going to be optimistic about it. I've never been late to really anything in Chicago. Like, I don't know, you plan ahead, and we did, like 3 hours, enough time. And so, yeah, it was like a hopeful, optimistic. And then I looked, like, down the road. I rolled down the window, and I looked down the road, and it was just cars for miles. And so I was just like, well, I don't know what to do, because I don't know how to. I've got to be positive for my friend here. He'll lose his mind. So,
yeah. What was? Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I appeared at that moment, but I was kind of freaking out.
yeah, I've never seen you really like lose your mind, but it kind of looked like, I don't know. You're just like, come on, just really come on.
I think it was disbelief on my part that this could be happening. I mean, it wasn't like we slacked off and didn't plan ahead. You know, like you said, we planned well ahead. Like, we should have arrived with an hour to stand there doing nothing, and I half expected you, like, to be staring at me as we stood around the bar, like, Justin, why are we here so early? Like, we have nothing to do for an hour. And
Well, I mean, we would have been at a bar. I would have been perfectly fine for sitting there for an hour. But that was kind of the whole mentality, and I was also kind of in shock that there was such a huge traffic jam, and so we were sitting there, and I did the only thing a somewhat good Christian could do, and I try to use some Jesus points to park the sea of traffic, and yeah, it was just it was not good, but thankfully we were able to reschedule.
yeah. I mean, because at first, like, my first angle was, okay, I'm going to abandon Dylan in his car on the freeway, and I'm going to run down the street somewhere to a train, and that's when I was calling Kristen and, like, okay, can you get me a train schedule? Can you tell me, because she knows the city much better than I do, like, can you tell me where to go from here to here to here so we can get to this point? I was literally going to leave you alone in the car and be like, Dylan, I'll see you there, I gotta go.
Yeah, and I totally would have understood that. There was a point where we were thinking about taking another road, like the exit, to see if it would make it faster. But there was nothing, man. We were just stuck. It was either, there was the train, but that would have probably taken longer. And then there was the exit, but that would have taken us up and around, and it would have been probably even worse. There probably been worse traffic through there. It was a lot of traffic.
Yeah. I'm really thankful that when I called to cancel the interview, they responded with, no, we can just reschedule it.
Yeah, that was really awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that made the whole day, really, because it went from being, like, excitement and, like, we're about to have an awesome concert and interview and it's going to be sweet, to, oh, this sucks so hard. It sucks so hard.
Yeah.
And, like, trying to be, almost optimistic to a fault with, you in the passenger side being like, really? This is like...
Yeah, usually in our duo...
Yeah,
it's like my job's to be the optimistic one in our little duo here, so, it was a little bit of a role reversal.
Yeah, I'm normally the cynic. You were just very, very, like, I don't know, I, like, almost thought you were going to, like, somehow flip the car over from the inside. Like, I was just like, we'll make it, man. We'll make it. And you're like, I don't know. The traffic says. I'm like, yeah, but it keeps on going. The GPS kept going up and down. Like, it's like, we're going to make it. Oh, no, now we're 30 minutes late. Oh,
Yeah.
we're going to make it.
Oh, that
Now we're an hour
GPS.
late.
Oh, teasing us constantly. Well, cool, man. Well, we got there. It was a grand show, a good time. We did the interview, so I thank you for your part in getting us there safe and sound and keeping me sane during our incident there. So, yeah, man, I think that's good. Appreciate it.
All right.
And
yeah, it was a great time. I'm really glad that we did make it. I was glad that it went as well as it did. And it was a great interview. And that's it. I don't know what more I can say about that whole trip. It was a crazy day, but it ended in a very awesome way. So
indeed, it did. Yeah. All right, man. Thanks, and hey, go get some rest.
yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Bye.
Hello?
Hi, may I speak with Justin, please?
This is Justin. Is this Roger?
It is. How do you do?
Hey, Roger. I'm doing great. Yourself?
Good.
Let's get right into it. You're out there, you're promoting Mexican moonshine, right?
Yeah, I think that was sort of the nature of what caught your interest for this particular interview. Yeah. I'm an independent musician, and there's a certain degree of entrepreneurialism that goes along with having to be creative enough to stay independent. And
indeed, not to interrupt, but I don't know if you recall, we had you on this show once before, back when you played in Chicago. It's been probably 2 years now, but when you were at the band at the Abbey Pub, I think it was.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, all right.
Cool. Yeah, very cool. Where were we? We were talking about, I don't remember the question. I started talking, and what were we talking about?
Well, then or now or today?
No, today.
Today. Oh, yeah. Well, so I'm thinking, today we're talking about the tequila, because I know you've got the crowdfunding going on.
Oh, yes, we do. We have the Indiegogo campaign. That's sort of one of our. It's a creative path towards funding operations. A lot of businesses are doing that now, and a lot of bands are doing it to fund their art. Being an independent band has led to some degree of entrepreneurialism, and that creativity. Entrepreneurialism has to have some creativity behind it, and Indiegogo or crowdfunding campaigns are important. They're becoming a more important part of keeping grassroots things going. And as we were looking into ways to be able to reach more people with Mexican moonshine, because we do have, we have sort of a cult brand and a cult scene.
Oh, I am so sorry. Hank.
No worries, man. I have three of those of my own.
It's the dangers out of working out of the house,
Please, I don't apologize whatsoever. I understand, and I appreciate very much having that. People, when they keep the home as a workplace, I think it's just basically good for society. Please don't apologize at all.
Oh, yeah? Give me just a quick explanation of that. What do you say that?
I work from home all the time, and I'm not on a tour bus. I think it's I don't commute, so I'm not a part of the big fossil fuel, orgy that we've got going on right now and all its concomitant problems. I find that people sort of prioritize their time better and generally are less wound up, less stressed out, more willing to let people cut in line, be tolerant, be compassionate. I just think overall, qualitatively and probably quantitatively, if we wanted to get into studies, it just creates a better society.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely...
I'm one who thinks the work week should be far less than it is. If I were to run for president, I would run on a siesta campaign. I think we should all have a siesta. It just makes for happier, healthier people who pay attention to what's nearer and dearer, and not just a dollar bill.
I agree. There are a couple of, because I still keep a part-time day job, and then I do this the rest of the week. And there's something nice about being here and, when it's stressful, being able to just look over and the dog you heard, that was Alice, but being able just to sort of look at her and see that, that feeling that our pets bring to us, that joy, and just sort of, it refills what was lacking in that moment,
Yeah, it's just good company, If your pet's there, they're not a supervisor, and they're not looking for productivity. It's just whatever you bring to that moment there with them. It's your relationship is just about company and affection, and I think that expands if we keep pets in our home office. I think it's just really good for society in general. I think it creates a better world. I know that sounds sort of pedantic, but I believe it's true.
No, I'm totally with you. In fact, I'm kind of cheating the system a little bit because, as I said, I do keep a day job, but my current day job, I help out part-time at an animal hospital, so I kind of get it both places. So,
oh, bless you. That's awesome. That's
yeah,
very cool.
yep, yeah. So I think we should probably maybe begin the chat again about tequila since we had a couple interruptions there. I do apologize again, but
no problem at all. Cool. So you had asked about the crowdfunding, specifically the Indiegogo campaign and what it's doing and what we hope to do with Mexican Moonshine. Being the leader of an independent rock and roll band with our own label, we're entrepreneurially minded. We have to find creative ways to get through the noise and the competition of the extant system, the quote-unquote music industry. And people are getting more and more creative in that particular arena, specifically music. And it's also happening in other worlds in entrepreneurialism. There are ways to attract people's attention on the internet and see if they're interested in helping you fund your project. And we did that with Indiegogo. Finding that Mexican Moonshine Tequila it's world-class, and it's handcrafted, small batch, big fun. But it's it's still very small. We're still very cult, and it's difficult to get our product and our message to people who, one, already know about it and want it, and then two, people who don't know about it and can't even make up their mind. Because for every peso we spend on operations, marketing, publicity, the bigger guys are, they're spending hundreds of thousands, if not millions. And so we went straight to the people to see if there was interest in helping us get our spirit a little closer to them. And they've responded really, really well in the first 2 weeks. Now, it's not $1 million campaign. It's a pretty small goal. Around, I think we're shooting for $50,000 to cover costs, but also even in delivering the message, people are becoming more aware of it, and Indiegogo is very good about that. So I think we're going to have a stretch goal and shoot for a little bit more operational funding, but then a really fun, creative campaign. And in doing so, we came up with cool perks, like everything from an autographed guitar with a shout out at a concert to private tequila tastings to the formulation of our very first extra añejo in a commemorative bottle, which fortuitously coincides with my first band, The Refreshments, first release, Fizzy Fuzzy Biggy Fuzzy. So we're going to put the Fizzy Fuzzy Girl. Yeah, Fizzy Fuzzy Girl is going on a ceramic bottle, and our very first bottling of XA or Extra Añejo will be bottled exclusively in that container. Anyway, I've spoken a lot without pause. So
no. That's great.
Let this be a dialogue.
That's fine. I was just thinking, you're talking about Fizzy Fuzzy and it being 20 years, and that I've had a couple of those moments in the last couple of years where this album of my youth has reached a milestone, and this one for sure, Fizzy Fuzzy, because I can remember being a teenager running around trying to find info on this band, The Refreshments, I had seen on late night MTV, so I could do a report for my English class, because I didn't really care about the stuff they were talking about. I want to talk about the music I loved, and to think that was 20 years ago just sort of blows my mind.
Blows my mind too. And the good news is, time flies when you're having fun, and this time really flew, and so I must have been having fun, or maybe we all were. And I'm still in the business that I love. I'm very, very privileged to be an artist celebrating 20 years in the business. I'm looking back over 2 decades at my first public release, and I'm proud. I never dreamed. I never even thought that I would still be able to do this, because the odds are way against most bands who release something. First of all, staying together, which we didn't. But second of all, those artists still being in the business. It's very competitive and very fickle, and a lot of people do or have to drop out, and I'm lucky to still be in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you and PH and the crew are rolling strong, and Brian of the Refreshments, he actually, as I understand, I think he has some local ties to where I am. And so every once in a while, I'll see his name pop up with some, local performances going on. So I know he's still doing his thing. And
yeah, he is. And we've gotten to play together a few times over the course of we put the Refreshments back together for a Circus Mexicus concert about 3 or 4 years ago. And he came down to Mexico and played with us on stage, and it went really well. It was really fun to feel that chemistry again. And he and I got to share a couple other stages here and there, like solo acoustic show. He dropped in Colorado. I think there was one in Detroit. So I see Brian every once in a while. He's still got his chops. It's cool.
Indeed, yeah. Yeah, it's cool to see, because again, I remember finding you guys as the Refreshments, when I was a teenager, and here we are, again, 20 years later. I mean, being a fan of your music is one of the longest things I've done in my life. Sort of living itself, I think. So, it's I'm so happy to see you guys just solidly, going strong and making great music still.
Well, thank you. I very much appreciate that, and it really does start, we can't do it without the support of the fans. And so I appreciate from an artist point, having an audience to speak to and receiving, feedback, input, support in what we do. And so thank you, to you and to everybody who's listening. I could not do this by myself. It takes an audience. So
indeed.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
Yeah. And I could talk, music and the Peacemakers and the Refreshments with you all day long, and maybe one day I can get you back on the show again for a full episode. But you know what, man, we are here. We are here to talk about tequila. So, what motivated you, obviously, as a fan of tequila, to turn around and say, "Hey, I'm going to try to make some of my own"?
It was how natural it felt, and also the opportunity presented itself over time. Going back to Fizzy Fuzzy Big and Buzzy, there are lots of songs that are either explicitly about or definitely include Mexico as a character, and there's one specifically with tequila as a character in the song, Speak of Nada, the closing number. As the Refreshments toured about the United States, or actually first locally and then later on in the United States, we found that it was a natural thing for people to adopt tequila as sort of their spirit of choice, their call when we were playing. And little by little, we started running bars out of tequila now. And so kind of we just, little by little, we started thinking about it. And there was a guy came to my band, actually it was after the Refreshments broke up. He was working for a brand, a tequila brand, very good tequila brand called Casa Noble in Mexico. And he wanted to know if my band would do an endorsement of their tequila. And it got us thinking. We turned it down at the time. We were still in a van. Too many irons in the fire, definitely not enough capital to invest or not enough attention to give to the project. So we turned it down, but it got us thinking. And then there was another opportunity that presented itself very closely on the heels of that one. Two cantina owners down in Rocky Point, Mexico, where we hold our festival, Circus Mexicus, came to me and said, essentially, we sell more tequila here in a weekend when you're here than all year when you're not. And we were wondering if you would like to cooperate in your own offering and basically do a private bottle, a limited edition bottling, because they had I think they characterized it at the time as a distillery, but it ended up being a still. It wasn't quite as big or legit as we were hoping. Anyway, we did our first private labeling of Mexican moonshine, named it after the song off of Americano, which is about, the song itself is about, it's a double entendre between the light of the moon and also sort of the buzz of the liquor, tequila specifically.
Sure.
So we made 1,000 bottles of Mexican moonshine, and we sold them in those two cantinas at Circus Mexicus, and they sold out very, very quickly in about 2 days. And it just got the audience said, well, you sold out, when are you going to do it again? So I went back to the cantinas and I said, when are we going to do it again? And they said, it was a great success, but we can't do it again because the volume was so high. We got sort of busted by the liquor board because we're not actually a legitimate distillery. They had a personal sort of a skill that was making tequila for their bars, but wasn't allowed to be bottled and sold. And so they said, we got our hands slapped and we can't participate in this way again, but we know people. So they helped us find the right links to the right people and the right distillery down in Tequila, Mexico, and little by little we found La Fábrica de los Tequilas Finos, which is our distiller, and we love the people and their ethic and their artisanal approach. And I passed all their vetting interviews as well, and we entered into a partnership. And in 2000, when did Reposado come out? I think it was in like 2010. We issued our first mark, which is an industry term. It means your styling, your type of tequila. So we issued our first mark, which was Reposado Mexican Moonshine in 2010.
Very nice, yeah. And I love the fact that
it's a long story, you know.
No, but that's all right. No. I love the fact that you had to pass the cut as well. You know, it wasn't just about, you know, you looking for a place to find the right tequila. They're like, no, you got to be the right guy too.
No, for sure, and I liked that. I found a distillery that wasn't just about volume, and they're not just about production. Tequila got kind of a black eye from being, it experienced a lot of growth and sort of more public awareness about a decade ago, and a lot of people jumped on this bandwagon like, oh, it's going to be this massive spirit, and there were a ton of celebrity endorsers, and there are still some out there who have nothing to do with tequila, and the tequila has nothing to do with them. And the people who are very protective of tequila as a national treasure were sort of felt slighted by it. And so when I approached the distilleries that I was interviewing, the one that was most cautious, La Fábrica, was the one that was making the best stuff. And I had to sit down and talk to them about my history, where I came from, why I enjoy tequila, what kind of tequilas I enjoy, before they would allow me to pass and begin discussing how we would make the profile of a private label. So that was really cool. I was like, wow, there's actually some barrier to entry here because they will protect quality over quantity. And I have the same work ethic in my enterprises as well.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a marker of sort of this current era we're in. I'm in a little town called Niles, Michigan, which is right across the border from South Bend, Indiana, if you know where that is.
Yeah, I do.
And the region I'm in, we're not too far from Lake Michigan, and it's a huge area for originally for wine, and now we're kind of a known spot for the craft beer industry. And I write a column for a local newspaper, and I get to run around and talk to these guys. And the thing I noticed the most about them is, you know, to the letter, every single one of them, they're not about making these mass quantities of beer and getting out there and competing with Budweiser or, you know, whomever. They want to make small batches of quality beer, or, you know, the same thing for the wine, and really make something special that's unique. And
right. I totally agree, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but they want to make something that people love. Not that just people consume. And so they want their personal expression to have a beneficial effect. And I find that it's the same way in tequila, craft beer, music, all sorts of very artistic things. And so I do definitely know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I've been shopping this theory around, and give me your thoughts on it. I have this sense that, you know, we had the recession that really took a toll on a lot of people, and we definitely felt it here in Michigan. And I've seen this thing grow out of it that I think is a positive, in that where so many people maybe pursued the wrong things prior to that. You know, it was more about money or false ideas of security, maybe. So many people in the recovery from that are turning toward things that mean a little more to them. You know, they're putting their work, their heart, their effort into, whether it be tequila or craft beer or music. You know, people are creating things that are unique and special and mean something to them, and not just being a cog in the machine.
Yeah, yes. As a theory, I think that it's valid. I see it happening too. People have been making choices to have a more meaningful life way. Instead of so much stuff, I find people just want to have a higher quality of life and not necessarily such a quantity of stuff.
Definitely. And I think that ties to the concept of crowdfunding as well. It's, you doing this with the tequila, and there's a great band called the Flowbots who they've been kind of on a break for a little while, but they're coming back with 2 albums, and they went directly to their fan base and said, hey, we have these 2 ideas. Let's make this. Will you help us? And sure enough, their fans rose up and said, hey, we're on board because we want this as much as you do. Whether or not there's a label that thinks the same thing, we've got your back. We'll pay for this.
Yeah, it's a wonderful time with the internet and now crowdfunding being, it's a part of the public dialogue. It's really cool. People don't need to have a single, what's the word, like a benefactor, i.e. a label. They can go straight to an audience and ask for cooperation, and it's really unheard of. It's a wonderful time. Yeah. I mean, unheard of in history. It's historically unprecedented. I don't know when the last time you could use such a massive, effective instrument as the internet and essentially go door to door and ask if people want to help you with a project in an instant. And it's a really amazing tool.
I agree. As someone who spends his days writing about, talking about, and just consuming, music and art and culture, it's a fantastic time because there is just that spirit of making things for the love of them. And like you said, we don't have to worry about necessarily the benefactor or the gatekeepers as much. It can be something that we do together as a community. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
I do too. It feels good. It brings more cooperation, more meaning, more engagement to the whole marketplace. It's really cool.
Indeed.
Instead of just being given stuff that you're like, maybe I'll like the new fast food sandwich, right? To just use as sort of a placeholder. Like you can help create the menu,
Exactly.
It's great.
Yeah, I mean, literally to that effect. I've seen restaurants. We have a local bar here that opened up about a year ago, and they did exactly that. They opened up with a particular concept that was unique to our region, and they crowdfunded to raise a little starter money, but also just to see, hey, are people even going to be into this idea? And my girlfriend Kristen and I, we were both like, yeah, we are on board, and essentially we're a part of helping make this thing a reality.
Yeah, and so you're a participant, and it's really cool. So you're engaged in the success or failure, or in some regard of what's being offered, and you're part of it, even getting a chance to be offered. I think it's great. I've definitely given money and time and support and things like this, advocacy to lots of projects that wouldn't otherwise exist if there was no such thing as crowdfunding. It feels good.
It does. It really does. So I know you have some specific goals with this drive for the tequila, and I believe one of them is a further reach and expansion of where the tequila is sold. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's largely what we want to be able to do. And I'm going to use some words that kind of sound dirty because they sound impersonal, but they're just part of the business. Like we want to be able to open up what are called other markets. Like, and what I mean is other states and cities. To get tequila imported and then distributed to states is a state-by-state endeavor, and it's expensive to buy licenses and just to get into states. And then once we can buy licenses, it can be very expensive to buy onto shelf, whether they be at cantinas, bars, restaurants, or at retail. So, the liquor business is highly competitive. We have people sort of waiting in the wings and asking, hey, when can we get it in Michigan or Rhode Island or Seattle, Washington? The answer is we love that there is a sort of grassroots demand, but we have to be able to operationally sort of fund getting the tequila on the truck, then off the truck, and then on the shelves. It just costs money. And we find ourselves in sort of a cart before the horse situation, in that, we've got this demand, but since we can't sell it in that market, it's not there. We have to have money before we can sell it, but you have to sell it before you can have money. anyway, hopefully crowdfunding will help us break that sort of that lock, that feedback loop, and we can get it out there to the people and share our spirit.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, because I know here in Michigan, like you said, it's not, I can't get my hands on it. I think I was looking just before you called, and I believe the closest, it's gotten a little closer to me, but I still have to drive about 3 hours to Ohio to find a locale with it. So
yeah, and that's so very true of most places, sort of outside our Southwest influence. You know, in Arizona, it's not that difficult to find, but probably more difficult than you might think. And then as we get sort of further away from our concentric circle, it becomes more difficult to get. Like, I was talking to somebody in Texas, they had the same story. Like, oh, you know, we really wanted to get a couple bottles for the holidays, but we just can't get all the way to New Mexico, like, obviously. So, you know, we've had a lot of those same stories come down the pike, and we were trying to be creative without pandering. And so somebody brought up crowdfunding. You know, this is how other people, other brands, other artists basically gain consensus and enable themselves to have a more effective reach, or what's the word, you know, that to become viable, to actually make a project come to fruition. So that's when we went with Indiegogo, and it's been really well accepted. It's been really fun. I had a little trepidation. I have some, you know, pride as an artist and man, and I'm like, you know, is that old ethos? I don't know if I want to stick out my tin cup here and ask for help, but honestly, the project means that much to me, and I thought, rather than see it stagnate or possibly fail, let us try this and see how it's received, and it's received really well.
That's great to hear. You know, I think a great example when it comes to that that trepidation you describe is the artist Amanda Palmer, because she talks about in her book, The Art of Asking, that concept of, you know, being an artist, being a creator, and coming to terms with the fact that it's okay to ask somebody to pay for your art or to pay for what you're creating, but how we all, especially as sensitive creative types, are a little bit more self-critical, maybe, you know, don't know, should we really be, you know, reaching our hand out and asking, you know?
No, exactly. And I wrestled with that. I definitely was reticent when somebody first said, well, let's just, you know, let's go on, I can't remember, let's start a fundraising campaign. I said, yeah, but that instantly doesn't it smack of almost a charitable aspect, and almost doesn't it say, these were my feelings, or doesn't it say that my project or product doesn't have the quality or integrity or meaning to make it on its own? And then, you know, this was a discussion that went on for weeks with some of my friends, and we have a board of directors who are mostly my friends in Mexican Moonshine, and then, you know, somebody asked me the same question. All right, well, when you fund to a certain artist, right, and I've done this for many of some of my favorite artists, like the most recent campaign being Bob Schneider's King Kong. I gave to that because I love his music and I want it out there. I said, do you feel like that you don't receive something, and do you feel like there's any lack of quality, integrity, meaning to what he's offering? No, it was a really good example. And so it helped me break through that, I guess, kind of an ego block, you know, like, I should be more effective and I should be more efficient. And all those things, like, you have to keep them in mind as an entrepreneur, but not really as so much as an artist, you know. This is a personal expression, and I believe it brings people together and helps people share company and joy, and I thought, yeah, let's give this a try.
Excellent. Well, I hope you have plenty of success with it. I'm glad you're getting a good return on it. Talking about the places where people can't get the tequila, are there any options for those folks to get it at this time, or are they're going to have to wait till they travel somewhere where it's available, or you are able to expand?
Hopefully we'll be able to expand and get it closer to anybody who wants it. That's the big experiment right now, and that's the endeavor. I never want to get top heavy. I never want to be like, I actually don't want to be a brand I don't want to be a Goliath. I'd rather just sort of step by step with the people who want to find this stuff. I don't know how to characterize that. Like, there's not really a brand out there that is the size or has the human touch that I'm actually aspiring Mexican moonshine to be. It's sort of its own thing right now. If you look at it, you get a feeling, and that's the way I want it to stay. That being said, the question is, how can people get it if it's not already on the shelves or is distant from the zip code? You can go to our finder on MexicanMoonshine.com, and hopefully it's working. We've had some issues with it. Sometimes it's a computer. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't.
Indeed.
But it'll tell you where the closest local purveyor would be, whether it be retail, like a liquor store or a grocery store, or whether it be a restaurant or a bar. Should be in there. Now, if you can't find it there, if it's not working, if it redirects you to Sweden, which happened to me, I was like, I was on the road looking for a bottle of my own stuff because I wanted to have a toast on the bus with some friends, and I entered the zip code where we were going, and it said the closest bottle was in Sweden. Okay, that's definitely a glitch. Anyways, there is a really cool operation called hightimewine.net. They're actually based in California, but they ship liquor, they ship spirits, and they ship wine, and they ship beer. And they did pick up Mexican moonshine, and sometimes they have it in the quantity that people want. And so if you want a bottle or two to get to your zip code, go to hightimewine.net. That's H-I, like hi, hello, hightimewine.net. And they will ship it to your door, oftentimes for less than you can find it at retail. And so they've done a really good job of helping us sort of bridge a lot of gaps.
Excellent. Well, that's great to know. I'll be checking out that website myself so I can get a little Mexican moonshine. I know I do a little bit of traveling here and there, and every time I go anywhere, I was in Texas last spring and Seattle not too long ago, but I never quite get within driving distance of a liquor store that has it available. And I was in Arizona. I actually visit Arizona semi-regularly every couple of years or so with a hiking group, but I'm always on a bus with this hiking group, so it's never easy to get away to figure out where a liquor store might be where I could pick some up. So I've been waiting.
Right. Definitely call ahead, because I've personally gone to go pick one up. You'd think that my garage is full of my own tequila, but it's not actually legal. Like, there's a lot of federal regulation in this business. And so many times, in order to bring it to a party or to have it, I will go pick it up at a store. And I have definitely made more than one trip out to a certain store, even in my own area, and they've been sold out or not carrying it. So definitely call first.
Sure. That's not a bad problem to have for you. So.
What's that?
So that's not a bad problem to have for you if it's that popular.
Well, it's both. You're right. It's both good and then not good, because sometimes, popularity is sort of it's a moving target. Like, if a place will say order 2 bottles or one of each mark, silver, reposado, añejo, that's a good thing. But if it doesn't move off retail shelves, then that's a bad thing. And so, a lot of times the illusion of popularity is actually what we're dealing with. Like, somebody will order 1 bottle, and then 1 bottle sells out, and you get to call it a sellout, right? Oh, we sold out, but it was only 1 bottle. So, we want to be able to tell people where it is consistently, so they can pick it up.
Certainly. Well, when this posts, I'll be sure to throw both the Mexican Moonshine website into the show notes and a link to that search page so people can see the map and everything. I was just on there today, and it was working for me, so that's hopefully a good sign there. So,
yeah, that's one of the things we hope to sort of improve with crowdfunding is basic operations, like, let's get an up to the minute update of where it is, and we have trouble sometimes tracking it from the distillery through the border to the warehouse and distributor. Like, we'll find that even the tracking systems that are in place right now, computer tracking systems that are supposed to tell you where your pallet or pallets of tequila are, will go dark, and we've lost tequilas for like weeks at a time. And usually during really important times where, right before Cinco de Mayo, we made 400 bottles, and we're going to bring it to a certain market and make sure it proliferates there, and then it disappears. Little things that happen behind the scenes they're amazingly befuddling and frustrating, so we're trying to tune our business up and work a little bit more efficiency. Not necessarily with more efficiency, not necessarily like corporate big boys, but we just need to get a pulse because it's ultimately it's a business about people. It's a human. We want to keep the human touch, and we don't want to end up having to use large scale sort of antiseptic and anesthetic tools to bring our spirit to the people. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to just make it more available when and where people want it.
Indeed. It's a worthy cause, if you ask me. I think, in this and in all other creativity, this is the way to do it. This is the way to distribute it and market. So
Cool.
I think you're doing it right, Roger.
Well, we seem to have a good consensus, and I very, very much appreciate you, bringing this to the light, and I very much appreciate everybody who's joined our Mexican Moonshine Tequila Familia. It's gonna really help us a lot, and we're small batch, but we're big fun, and we don't plan to change. We're gonna keep our quality and integrity, and hopefully just be a little bit more available.
Indeed. Well, we'll put a link to the Indiegogo campaign in the show notes as well. And hey, thanks for coming back on the show. I really appreciate it. Maybe we can get you back on here next time. There's some new music coming from the Peacemakers, or you're back in the area. And yeah, I missed the last time you guys were in town, so hopefully I can catch you guys soon.
Yeah, definitely. Just keep looking us up, and I really, once again, really appreciate the airtime. And we're going to be hitting the road pretty hard in 2016 for essentially the commemorative of Fizzy Fuzzy Big and Buzzy. It's 20th year, and we're doing a kind of a creative thing with not a reissue of the album, but we made a lot of friends, musician friends out there along the way, and there have been a few who stood up and said, I'd like to recut a certain song, if ever you do it. And that idea actually came from Alice Cooper, who yesterday recut a version of Banditos. I have yet to hear it. But we're going to be putting that out, basically one song month by month throughout the year 2016, of featured artists with a certain song from Fizzy Fuzzy Big and Buzzy. So maybe we can talk about that next time. That
is, you have just gotten me very excited about 2016. That's awesome.
Really?
I cannot wait for that. That's great. So cool. Well, I'm looking forward to that. And are you guys going to have any special treats on the road for those for that 20th anniversary?
I think we'll probably be doing that album top to bottom quite a bit. Like when we go hit the road, we'll probably do an opening set of our own music, like mostly Peacemakers and some refreshments off the second record as our opening set. Take a quick break, let everybody fill their cup, or do whatever they're going to do, and then come back and finish the set with Fizzy Fuzzy Big and Buzzy top to bottom.
Very nice. Yeah. Now, are there songs that you have a very distinct, that are distinctly Peacemakers versus distinctly Refreshments, or is that really not a line for you?
I get asked that a lot, and I used to not be able to make a distinction, probably because I was so close to the canvas. But now that I look back, I do see something of a distinct quality to Refreshments that wasn't yet emergent or wasn't quite as focused as Peacemakers. Like I think it would be odd for a song like Buffalo or Sleep Like a Baby to have appeared in the Refreshments issues in our albums. I think it would have been a little bit odd for a song like Girly, conversely, to show up on a Peacemaker album. There's a little bit more naivete and sort of, almost, there's a certain, not harmful, but selfishness that happens on the Refreshments record. I was definitely not afraid to cry out loud about little things.
Yeah, it's a little more, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'd actually like to probably stop talking about myself.
That's what I'm here for. I'm here to make you do that. So,
Right.
But no, I feel like there's a little more in the Refreshments. It is sort of that youthful, mischievous kind of. I mean, it's obvious in Banditos, but there definitely is an element there. But there still is sort of that communal spirit. I mean, my favorite song of all time from any artist is Mekong. Those words, "Thank you for your time. Here's to life." They for me are a personal sort of a mantra, a reminder whenever. Whatever's getting me down, that those words is something that I can turn to and be, it just be thankful for what you have and enjoy the adventure that is life. And I think that's what that song, those words in particular, communicate. And that is part of that Refreshments, Peacemakers, Roger Clyne spirit that I think makes your music so appealing to people.
Well, thank you very much. I think that song definitely bridges both bands. You know, that was an emergent philosophy for me in the Refreshments, and yet I may have had my hand out, but I might have been flying the bird. Whereas when I matured a little bit more into Peacemaker-ness, I probably just held my hand out to help. So, yeah, thank you for your time. Here's to life. Let's all get together and celebrate it, because it's a quick trip, you know.
Indeed. All right, Roger. I really appreciate you coming back on the show and talking tequila, talking music. And when you're back in my neck of the woods, let's get back together. We'll do something else, and keep me posted on what's going on. We'll make sure that on the website we get the new songs up there and everything. We're always glad to support you guys. We're big fans here.
I very much appreciate the time, and I hope to see you next time we come to town.
You've been listening to Anywhere the Needle Drops from Red Chuck Productions. Keep up on new episodes of this show, our live events and various creations and other happenings over at redchuckproductions.com or by following us on social media at Red Chuck Productions. Special thanks to Hero Jr. for our theme music. You can check them out over at herojuniormusic.com. That is Hero, Hero, Junior, JR, music.com. A big shout out to Paul Clemson and Theory One Productions for handling sound duties and so much more. Check out their magic over at theory1productions.com. And a big thank you to Earthworks Audio for outfitting the Red Chuck studio. See their microphones and their other products over at earthworksaudio.com. Be sure to support all of our guests by visiting their websites, social media, clicking that subscribe button, seeing them live, and checking out their merch stores. Give musicians and artists your money. We'll be back with the next episode. Until then, thank you for your time. Here's to life.